Intelligence is no longer enough. And that's uncomfortable to hear, because nobody likes to think of themselves as unintelligent. In fact, most of us are very confident in our intelligence, and that confidence may be the problem. The issue isn't that people are getting dumber, it's that the rules of intelligence have changed, and most people are still playing the old game. We were taught that intelligence meant good grades, high test scores, and impressive credentials. But in the modern world, those signals no longer translate cleanly into good decisions, meaningful outcomes, or a fulfilling life. And ironically, the people who struggle with this the most are often the smartest ones in the room. So the real question is this: if intelligence isn't enough anymore, then what is? Nobody likes to think of themselves as unintelligent. Intelligence has long been treated as a stable trait, something you are rather than something you do. But the modern world has quietly exposed a flaw in that assumption. We all know about the Dunning-Kruger effect, the phenomenon where people with low competence tend to overestimate their ability, while those with high competence often underestimate theirs. The less perspective you have, the more confident you feel. The more you know, the more aware you become of what you don't know. Competence humbles, whereas ignorance inflates. But even that observation doesn't go far enough, because intelligence, no matter how you define it, fails to matter if it cannot be translated into action. Intelligence does not operate in isolation. It is useless without executive functioning, the ability to regulate attention, plan behavior, delay gratification, and consistently execute decisions over time. Psychological research shows that traits like conscientiousness and self-control are often stronger predictors of long-term success than raw cognitive ability alone. High IQ without follow-through produces very little. At minimum, you must be able to lead yourself. Whether or not you ever lead others, intelligence must first express itself as self-governance. Properly understood, then, intelligence is the ability to gather information from your environment, interpret it accurately, form a plan, execute that plan, and adapt as feedback arrives. If intelligence does not produce behavior, it is not functioning intelligence. It is only latent potential. In that sense, intelligence is dynamic. Like muscle, it atrophies when unused. You do not remain intelligent by merely knowing things. You remain intelligent by making good decisions repeatedly under conditions of uncertainty. Historically, intelligence was measured through credentials like grades, standardized test scores, university prestige, and IQ. Those signals used to work because they were scarce, but they no longer are. College degrees have become heavily saturated, particularly in the United States, where government-backed student loans removed price sensitivity from higher education markets, and as access expanded, signaling value has declined. At the same time, grade inflation steadily eroded academic differentiation. Average GPAs, that is grade point averages, have risen for decades without corresponding evidence of increased mastery or learning. A credential whose supply increases faster than its informational value is not an asset, it's a depreciating signal. Increasingly, graduates do not even work in the field they studied. Longitudinal labor data show that a majority of degree holders end up in occupations unrelated to their major. Even those who work in field often find that much of their coursework was only marginally relevant. This leads to an uncomfortable conclusion. If intelligence were reliably captured by degrees and grades, outcomes would reflect that alignment, but they do not. A poor investment is simply a bad decision, and intelligent people, if intelligence were what we think it is, should not consistently make bad decisions, yet many do, which suggests intelligence is being misdefined. IQ alone is insufficient. Emotional intelligence alone is insufficient. And so is knowledge accumulation alone. In practice, then, intelligence appears to be the integration of perception, judgment, and execution over time. You might define intelligence this way: the ability to map goals onto reality efficiently and adjust behavior as reality pushes back. By that definition, intelligence collapses into conscientiousness, judgment, and decision quality. And decision quality correlates far more strongly with life satisfaction and well-being than raw intelligence scores ever have. Which leads to a difficult syllogism here. Good decisions produce progress. Progress produces fulfillment. Fulfillment underlies happiness. So if that chain holds, intelligence is not merely correlated with happiness, it is instrumental to it. Modern society heavily rewards symbolic intelligence, especially in technical fields. Mastery of specialized language, abstract mathematical formulas, and theoretical models have become culturally synonymous with being smart, quote unquote. But sophistication can become a liability. Highly analytical individuals are often prone to paralysis by analysis, a phenomenon where excessive evaluation delays or prevents action altogether. When thinking becomes performative rather than practical, intelligence collapses into self-sabotage. Consider a simple example from finance. Many people learned that the historical average price-to-earnings ratio of U.S. equities hovers around 15 to 17. Armed with this knowledge, they attempt to time markets mechanically, buying below that threshold and selling whenever it's above it. But markets are not static systems. Valuations fluctuate based on growth expectations, interest rates, uncertainty, and regime shifts. And during periods of instability, valuations sometimes expand rather than contract due to speculative expectations. Knowing a number is not intelligence. Knowing when that number stops mattering is. Efficiency maximizes something, but it does not tell you what should be maximized. If the wrong variable is chosen, efficiency accelerates failure. Modern culture is obsessed with optimization, productivity, metrics, growth, and engagement, but optimization without wisdom is how intelligent people make catastrophically bad decisions. The world is not governed by a single objective function. It is governed by nested systems with competing constraints. Fixating on one metric while ignoring higher-order priorities is how intelligence becomes a form of blindness. Wisdom, not intelligence, determines which variables deserve attention, and wisdom demands humility. We live in an age of inflation, whether it's monetary inflation, grade inflation, credential inflation, or even intelligence inflation. Ask people to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10, and many will say 7. But statistically, 7 out of 10 places you well above average, around the 84th percentile, which is about 1 full standard deviation above the mean. That cannot be true for the majority of people. This is not confidence, it is a distortion. When everyone believes they are exceptional by default, nobody feels pressure to improve. The corrective mechanism of humility disappears. True intelligence begins where arrogance ends. Intelligence is not IQ, it is not vocabulary, it is not credentials, it is not some ethereal abstract brilliance. Intelligence is conscientious action under uncertainty. It is the capacity to balance thinking and doing, to consume without dependency, to produce without recklessness, to act without certainty, and to adapt without ego. It is courage guided by good judgment, humility paired with actual execution, wisdom operationalized. We do not need more signals for intelligence, but rather more intelligent behavior. And that is something anyone can develop if they are willing to abandon the illusion that intelligence is something they already possess in full. So stay humble and stay courageous. This has been Lumen et Ratio, Light and Reason.